And we are live. Hey, everybody. Hi, Kim. Oh, my God.
Hello.
Y'all is in for a treat today. My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the momatrician, pediatrician, and mom of a young transgender adult, and life coach for parents of queer kids, but also brand new corporate consultant. Yes, I train organizations to create safe spaces for parents of queer kids because somebody has to. So I help y'all become allies for your employees, particularly those who are parents of queer kids. And to help me do this today, I have my friend, co-pilot for over a year now, and fellow mama bear who does not give a fuck. Yeah, we have a t-shirt like literally that says, we don't give a fuck. Is that what what does the t-shirt say, Kimmy?
Let's fuck the closet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yes. Yeah. So the t-shirt says, fuck the closet. And at the back, it says, ask me how. We're not playing, okay? We are not playing. So thank you all so much for joining us. And yes, I cuss. So if you're a Christian, close your ears, or more so, just scroll over. I don't care. But once I turned 50, I ran out of fucks to give. And my guest today hasn't gotten any either. She has none to give. Her name is Kim. And sometimes she's Dory, sometimes she's Turner. I don't know. Kim, what's your last name today?
Dory.
Dory.
It's Dory. Thank you.
So Kim Dory is, oh my goodness. Ooh, y'all are in for a treat. When you join the live, please let me know if you're watching live or if you're watching it on the replay. Type in the comment section if you have any questions, any concerns. We will be glad to answer all of your questions, especially those on LinkedIn, because it doesn't usually tell me if you're watching unless you say something. So please feel free to comment, and I'll ask this question multiple times so y'all can just remember to type something so I can know that you're watching and who you are and all that. But enough of that. Kim, how are you, darling?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Thank you for saying yes. So, since we're talking about saying yes, why did you say yes? Why did you decide to come on a show to talk about supporting parents of queer kids in a world where people are like, kill them, send them to jail and banish them to eternal hellfire? Why did you choose to come and do this?
Well, you just answered the question. What is this world thinking? Like, what are these people thinking? Don't get me started. We're here to talk about specifically in the workplace. So I'll try to keep it to that. But to be honest, when you chose this topic, I can relate to it in a few different ways. I'm a parent. I have been in a position to hire people.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in an employer role. And I've done that for my whole life. I've worked full-time my whole adulthood, through having two babies and raising them. I've always been I like to consider myself a professional. Even though I say fuck, I will use it in a professional manner.
Wait. I want to know, is there a professional way to say fuck?
Oh, absolutely.
I cannot wait to learn. You learn something new every day.
All right. That's another podcast.
Yes, that's good. Keep going.
So being in the two different roles, I feel that, we can have a really good discussion here. I can see it from both angles. I can see it as the employee, and I can also see it as the person that's hiring or the person that has employees that have queer kids. And I know what it takes to raise kids that have outside world challenges. Let's just put it that way.
What a beautiful way to put it. Outside world challenges. So Kim, but before we dig in, because I know you can't wait, right? But before we dig in, I want you to tell me really quickly, and those people who are watching, because we kind of talked about this before we went live, tell us something fun, something different, something unique about you. And just as an icebreaker, let's get to know you a little bit.
Well, I'm really excited because we just got back from the first family vacation that we've had in, I don't even know how long. So it was myself and my two kids and my son's partner, and we went to California, and we went to San Francisco, and I crossed touring Alcatraz. That was on my bucket list, and we crossed that off. Um, I was like the kid. I was so excited to be there with my kids and doing all these things and crossing off something off my bucket list that I haven't done. And I'm still on a high from it. I look back at the pictures just randomly every once in a while, just to keep me going, finish off the summer. But
That is,
so yeah, that brings me the most joy.
I was gonna say that is definitely something unique. That's something different. I don't know. I've seen the movie Arcade. I don't even think I finished watching it, but I definitely have seen it, and I can understand for those people who that's their thing, how checking that off the bucket list can be a unique thing. And thank you for sharing that. So the show is called Supporting Parents of Queer Kids at the Workplace. And my name is Dr. Lulu. I'm a life coach, and I work with organizations to help them learn how to support parents of queer kids at the workplace. And Kim is here because she's a parent of a very unique pair of beautiful human beings. I'm going to let Kim tell us what is the thing that's unique about these two human beings.
Well, first of all, they both have very unique personalities. They're two totally different people, two totally different human beings that came from me. And I'm just so proud of them. I don't want to even say that what's unique about them is that, yes, I have two sons. They are transgender. They were assigned female at birth. And so for many, many years, we went through, all the girly things and trying to get them involved in sports and different activities. And what do you like? What do you crafting? And, try these dresses, these cute, pretty dresses on and match them, right? Get them matching dresses and all that. You look back at it now and you just kind of go, oh yeah, I forgot I had to pay my oldest to wear the dress, you see things like, you look back at it that way now, and it's definitely different. But I have two amazing sons. My oldest will be 22 in August. So he's grown his wings, and my youngest is 16.
And I almost feel, as a pediatrician, I almost feel like your kids are my patients, in the sense that I feel like I know them more than just all the parents I know on Facebook that I know have children. These two have kind of semi-interacted with, both virtually and almost like non-virtually. It feels like I know them, just seeing the pictures, hearing the stories, and just back and forth with their mother. I feel like I actually know them. So thank you so much for coming here on behalf of them, and really on behalf of, because you made it to my book just as a sanctuary for children who are not, who otherwise have no parental support. This is another day's conversation, technically speaking, but I mean, it's relevant because there are children like that, So, but Kim, to keep it on point, you are here because we're talking about supporting parents of queer kids at the workplace. And the reason I decided to make a slight pivot to do that is because I struggle with having anyone to support me at home. So have you had that personal experience of not having affirmation of yourself on the home front? Have you experienced that at all, even before we get to the workplace? Have you had that experience as an individual?
Well, of course, being supported looks very different to a lot of people. So what I'm going to politically correct say is, as a mom, you never feel like you have enough support. You're always running ragged. And when you're working full time, trying to be a professional, and coming home and having to be a mom to younger kids, especially, it definitely gets challenging. Nobody, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you're married, divorced, separated, have a girlfriend, boyfriend. It doesn't matter. I mean, support looks different to a lot of people. Did I struggle at times with support? Absolutely. Absolutely.
It looks different for a lot of people. This is something that I haven't even like thought about. I mean, yes, I have, but then again, I haven't in the context of being a parent of a queer child. In my own case, my own support is mental, it's physical, it's financial, it's emotional, it's just not even being able to talk about my child with her grandparents, with my
Yeah.
siblings. I had to leave, I had to exit the family group left. So it's like, I don't know any other way to, any other word to even use to qualify except I don't have any support. But I realized yesterday that I am enough.
Mhm.
And I realized it while I was talking to another parent during a coaching session yesterday afternoon. And she had talked about wanting me to help her get the child's father to support the child. And I was like, wait, you're actually enough. And then I realized, wait, I'm also enough. So thank God that I'm enough. Thank
Mhm.
God that I know that no one has all the answers, but the little bit that I have is enough. So
Yeah.
Kim, tell me about that. How do you feel? Because I know if I'm enough with one child, you are doing it twice as much. So how does that work out for you? How are you doing it?
Well, you got to be flexible. You take it one day at a time. You try not to look too far into the future because, you get overwhelmed. It's just really easy to get overwhelmed. And I think, taking it a day at a time, you know, what what is really important and what is not. Is it really important that your child goes to school looking, hair perfect and all, or do you let them pick out their own outfit because they're throwing a tantrum, and they're 5? Just what's really important here, and I guess putting it in perspective and putting all of those things in perspective, it helps. I think it's made me a better person having the kids that I do, because I have to do things like that. I have to put things in perspective. Um, there's, don't sweat the small stuff, but even the medium sized stuff, you can probably let go. Just saying.
Oh my God, I gotta put that. I gotta put that. So I put that question as a comment and then I can highlight it. What is really important? That is so powerful. That is so powerful. Kim, can you elaborate a little bit more about what is really important? But do that when we come back from our break. So the show is called Supporting Parents of Queer Kids at the Workplace. My name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Mom Nutrition. I'm your host. And I usually roll solo, but today I was able to get without, it wasn't much of an ask. Kim was just like, where, when, that's the kind of person that most of my moms actually that I roll with are. Those are the kind of people, they're just so happy to come. So the show is called Supporting Parents of Queer Kids at the Workplace. And my name is Dr. Lulu. And I'm joined today by Kim, who so far has been dropping nuggets. One of the biggest one I just put on the screen there. The question she asked us to ask ourselves is, what is really important when that 5-year-old is having a temper tantrum because they know their gender and you're trying to put on the nice shiny shoes with the pom-pom socks and put the little hair, I don't know, clip thingies, and the child is just like, no, I don't want. And you're just the whole time you're thinking, oh, my child is a terrible, not knowing that this is what they've been trying to tell you. Also, she mentioned that she has been able to check off some stuff off her bucket list. If you know me, you know I always tell you that stop waiting for anybody to give you permission. Go and check off your bucket lists. Go and do it. And then she also says, we never feel fully supported as parents, as moms specifically, actually. We never truly feel fully supported. So, Kim, thank you so much for going there because that is true. So what she's saying is we need to find our center. Even as we don't always feel fully supported, we need to feel like what we have is enough. As you know, whatever you focus on gets bigger. So if you focus on, I don't feel fully supported, well, you're never going to feel like you're fully supported. And then also, she mentioned that support looks different for different people, and we have to be flexible and take it one day at a time. Kim, amazing first segment already. Thank you so much for coming. I am just so excited. Y'all, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to drink our water because, we got to act all bougie. And when we come back, Kim is going to tell us, what is it really like to be supported, whatever the definition of support is for you at the workplace. And it looks like she has more to say because she has been the supporter at the workplace and the supportee. Is that even a word? Be right back. The show is called Supporting Parents at the Workplace. We'll be right back. And we are back. That's it. So I did that because, believe it or not, I have a sponsor for my show already. So I'm just practicing for when I insert the little commercial. But yeah, so Kim, my guest today, who has been blessed, as she said, to be raising, affirming, and supporting not one, but two beautiful humans who also happen to be transgender. Both of them were assigned female at birth. And that's all we're going to talk about. We don't talk about the kids on my show, on any of my shows. Talk about the parents. So Kim, tell us, what is it like to be the parent, rather the employee who is supporting parents, and to be the parent who is being supported at the workplace? What are the pros and cons, if any, and what has that been like for you?
Well, I guess I'll start with, as the parent of, two kids that, first of all, what's really important is their health, right? It's first and foremost with, I think, every parent is the health of their children. And knowing that I need an employer to understand that, doctor's hours, sorry, Dr. Lulu, it's pretty 9 to 5 unless you get, you got some on call and then you make the big bucks, right? But, it's 9 to 5. You're going to have appointments during the day. And if your child happens to be queer in any way, you could have a lot of doctor's appointments, specialist appointments, therapy appointments. Maybe you just need to be there for your child and don't have an appointment. Maybe you have an appointment with your child, and work needs to be okay with that. And I think as an employer, showing that compassion, just if somebody came, like, what if you hired somebody and you found out like a month after you hired them that they're pregnant? It's the same type of thing. It deserves compassion. You have a death in the family. You got to attend a funeral. You have, an ailment of some sort that you need to go see a specialist for. I mean, an employer has to show some compassion these days. And I know that there's some places that, it's very by the book. But I'm telling, and when I say by the book, I just mean the book that is, you punch in at the 5 minutes early, you punch out 5 minutes late. As a parent, I have not been able to do that.
Yes. And the funny thing, Kim, not only that, first of all, I love the fact that your child's health comes first. I love that. Not before you, but always when it comes to your child, their health first, but also your own health, Kim. Because as you know, it is nerve-wracking. And the governor is making laws that you could be arrested. Mentally, you need a mental health day. So I think it makes sense to say, yes, go to the doctor with your child, but also for yourself. I mean, this is not a normal parenting situation where your kids are, just maybe they lost a tooth or they're going for their shots. No, this is, even the parent themselves are also subjected to a lot of scrutiny and isolation and ostracization and blame and guilt and shaming. It is a lot. So say it again for those at the back. We need to, I like the idea. I really like the idea that organizations should have compassion. That summarizes it. And for those who don't know, compassion is defined as empathy plus how can I help you. That's the definition of compassion. Empathy just means I see you, I hear you, I see your pain. Okay. But compassion is the next step. How can I help? So thank you so much for saying that. What about on the flip side?
As far as employers,
Mm-hmm.
what was the question? See, this is
Well,
my ADHD.
well,
I'm sorry.
it's fine because first of all, we're talking about two things. You said
Right.
you have been the employer and then you've been the employee.
Yes.
So you've talked about how the employer has to have compassion. But what
Mhm.
about being the employee now who needs to be the one supporting?
Oh, I like this one because
Okay.
this one
Yeah.
totally applies to me.
Yes.
So what I need to be successful in my job, first of all, I'm a hard worker. And there's nobody that's going to argue that, I think, unless they really want to sabotage me, but whatever. But I can hold my own in the workplace. I can also take time out for a meeting during the day because I've worked that out with my leadership. I think having open communication as an employee with, that's a parent, and your kids come first before your employer. Sorry, but leadership you need to have that open dialogue and that open communication, and it's got to be two ways. If you need something, as an employee, if you need time off, go to your leadership and already have a plan. Beat them to the punch. I know I need to take an hour off because I have an appointment, but I'm going to stay an hour late tomorrow.
Oh.
Like, make a plan, offer them something in exchange for the leniency that you're getting.
I was just going to say that. Yes. Make it almost impossible for them to say no by
Absolutely.
already preempting what are they going to ask, what questions
what they're going to ask.
offer. This is so beautiful because this is a conversation that I haven't had with anyone. The role of the employee. And you also said something. You need to speak up. Listen, your boss is not supposed to know that your child has anything. While you don't have to necessarily tell them, that's up to you and the relationship. But you need to speak up. You need to speak up. It's on a need to know basis. My child has autism, my child has ADHD, my child has whatever. It's on a need to know basis. However, it may be if it's going to help, then you need to have the select few that you're gonna tell about it. But if you don't tell them, they're not magically going to know. Is that what you're saying, Kim?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, they're not going to magically know. So let's say your child requires lots of appointments one week. You don't know how you're going to make it work. You're not sure how you're going to be able to put your hours in because you're out of vacation time and you've got these appointments. I mean, that's where sometimes if your leadership knows a little bit about your situation, you don't have to go into ugly details. You can just say, look, I have a special situation that I'm trying to
I love that.
balance with my workload. That's personal. And I would really appreciate some compassion for this one. I know it's going to have effects on the team, or I know these are the things that you're going to want to do. And these are the things that I'm going to do I'm going to talk to so-and-so. They're going to cover this for me. I'm going to stay late on this day or work 2 hours on Saturday. Get creative.
Do your due diligence. Yes, I love that.
Get to get it done.
Make it impossible for them to say no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I like that because that also is a two-way street. Employers should also, bosses, HR managers should also create a space where the employee feels safe enough to share this with you. And that to me, I think is so important. I was telling my kid today, one of my former employees called me a week ago and I just thought she was calling to commiserate because of the death of my ex-husband, because he was her boss when she worked with me. And she was like, yeah, I heard about that. And then she sent me the pictures of her kid. And I was like, oh, yeah, he graduated. Oh, my goodness. Such and such and such. So where is he going to go to college at? And she was like, no, actually, I called to tell you that he drowned. And I couldn't believe it. He just graduated from high school with my kid. And so she was like, no, I remember you, the kind of boss that you were. And I know that you're a praying kind of person. I just want you to pray for me. And I was just like, oh my God, thank you so much for so many years. This is 15 years later, since 2012. I don't know the number of years that she hasn't worked for me, but she still remembered to call me and tell me about such an important, though painful thing, but so important. So I think it behooves employers to be this kind of people that your employees feel safe enough to come and tell you about something like, because nobody knows what that kid is going to become. No one knows.
Nope.
So, Kim, tell us as we kind of go into our last quarter, tell us with regards to you experiencing support at the workplace, how has it made a difference in your life as this fierce mama bear of these two beautiful babies who are rocking their true gender, fearlessly? How has that supported? How has that made you become who you are today? The support you got at work.
Well, so I started my current position at Robert Bosch about 4 years ago. And one of the things, thank you. And one of the things that I look for in first of all, leadership, knowing my leadership helped make the decision. 'Cause I already I already knew that my leadership was going to have that compassion that I required. I did my research. I looked up Bosch and I put it out there that, to see what they had for diversity and inclusion programs. I saw that they had a lot of different groups. They have, African American at Bosch. They have, Asians at Bosch. They have women at Bosch. They have pride at Bosch. They have all these little groups that, belong to these diversity and inclusion groups. And I signed right up as soon as I got the job. Of course I joined right in, but just the fact that they had that and they had a lot of members in them, made me feel good. It made me feel safe. And the only way that I'm going to be sharing details about my personal life or the challenges that I have with my workload is if I feel safe. Seeing the pride flags around, making it visual, having, events, cocktail hours, whatever it takes to make, people feel welcome to your company, regardless of their gender, their ethnicity, their race, their religion, their anything. I think feeling safe is the first thing, in accepting this position. And once I had those, it's easy. I go to work, I communicate with my boss. I'm home for my kids. We have doctor's appointments. Sometimes I'm juggling and sometimes I'm running and, but that's being a parent, right? I mean, that's, but it does happen a little more frequent, I would say, when you do have kids that are struggling, that do require some, extra appointments, let's say, than outside the normal scheduled appointments. So.
Yeah, so I'm writing down your notes here. Feeling safe at the workplace looks like that's the word that you've mentioned, I don't know, 20, 11 times. So the onus is on the employers. Whatever you got to do to get your employees to feel safe is what is the meat. And I guess just like support is defined differently, safety is also defined differently. I have an idea about one thing that employers could do, but Kim, tell us what one thing you think they could do to make employees feel safe. Just one thing.
Have a diversity and inclusion program. I mean, so much comes with that. It covers everything. How could, be active in it. You know, don't just think of it as being something in the background, because here's the thing. If you look at the statistics, right, and everybody's a parent, your employers are a parent, you're a parent, nobody knows whose kids are gay or queer or transgender. Nobody knows unless you make it known, right? And I'm not going to make it known to put my kids in jeopardy if I don't feel safe. And I'm not going to work for somebody that I don't feel safe talking about my personal stuff with.
That's it.
So, I mean, that does dictate where I work.
Yeah. I honestly think maybe because I have been an employer pretty much all of my adult life. I've been the employer. I know one thing that I did when I had my own private practice was every Friday, all the girls, we shut down the office at like 12 noon, and all the employees, all of us just sat down together and just talked about just men who was dating who was doing. It was like a gossip session, but everybody was able to let loose, and so it was so easy. So I went to the girls' weddings, but it started with me. Is what I'm saying. I needed to be vulnerable. I needed to show them what I would like for them to be like.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. I
Absolutely.
needed to be the one who was not high up here. Well, that's not my personality anyway. But then, even if it were, I just did not, I showed them the example of what I wanted them to be. Now, I had 13 employees at the max. Not all of them are fully open, but majority of them just felt safe to bring their kids, their kid was going to come to work with them today. Okay. One of them was, well, okay, you want to hold the stethoscope? Okay, let's go around and see the patients together. I mean, it was just like a home away from home for me. And I had 2 locations and 13 employees.
Yeah.
And so my office manager was the same way. It was just a big family. So I think if you can do it in a small space, then you can also do it. Just the employer should think, how would you want your own employer to be? Maybe that's the question that employers should be asking themselves. How would you want your own employer to be? And that's how you should be. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts about that, Kim?
I like it. Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So before we go, let me write this: your own employer to be. What other things maybe do you have to add that we might have left out, that maybe you think people at the workplace, parents or employers could be thinking about with regards to creating psychologically safe spaces? Is there anything else that we left out? Because, by the way, for those of you who don't know, when I was deciding to do this pivot, Kim was one of two people in this whole 7 billion that I asked about it. And I said, give me some pointers. And she wrote a whole episode. So it's good to have people like that, because Kim was like, oh my God, that's a great idea. And I was like, okay, all right. So Kim, was there anything else that we left out that maybe we should be thinking about at the workplace, either as employee or as employer? I know you had notes. Go ahead, read them out.
All because you tell me that I have to write in journals, and so I have a bazillion journals now. So we covered empathy and compassion. We covered that. We talked about communication regularly, but also, just a quick note that I didn't elaborate on is, as an employer, proactively communicate with your employee so that they don't always feel like they're coming to you complaining that I need time off or whatever. If you have a standing one-on-one with your employee every week or every other week, it just leaves for an open dialogue where nobody's coming to anybody saying anything about anything. It's just a conversation, and nobody's feeling like they're asking for the world, or nobody's feeling like they're being put in a spot, as an employer, like shorthanded or whatever. Having that, knowing I'm having a one-on-one with my boss on Thursday. I know I have, appointments for the following week. I'm going to communicate that with him. But if I didn't, he's probably going to ask. It's a standard question that we
I
go with.
love that.
It's a
But if
standard
I
question.
didn't,
What
he's
time off is
probably
coming
gonna
up?
ask. I love
Yeah,
that.
what time off? What kind of time off you got coming up? I got a few appointments next week. I'll let you know when. And you know, and that way it doesn't feel like I don't feel like I'm coming and asking for all these favors. And he's not in a spot where he has to say no. There can be a conversation with two adults that just hash it out. It's not that
I
big of a
love
deal.
it.
It's not that hard.
I love it. So much content. My coach would say, so much content. Like everything you said today is exactly what I needed. So much content. If I didn't, he's probably going to ask, what a beautiful thing for and I want people to hear how ultimately our focus, my focus anyway, is the child. Because if the parent feels this way, this loved, this appreciated at work, they will give you everything as an employee. They will give you everything. And their child will thank you forever. Imagine the child whose parent comes home and just like gives them everything because they're getting it. All right. It's like their cup is overflowing at work. And so when they get to home, it's overflowing too. I don't know. I'm a kind of woo-woo kind of person anyway. I close my eyes when I talk like this because it's like, oh, I could just see that employee will never leave you. They will never, or at least within reason. Within reason. So what about the employee? What can the employee do? And I think this was so good. Like, they should be proactive, and then the boss should be proactive. No, the boss should be proactively communicative. But
Yeah.
anything else? So there's empathy, compassion, communication, proactive communication, and then anything else from maybe the employee's end.
Oh, I have a lot to say to
Let's
parents.
go.
So,
Let's go.
so we covered a lot of the stuff that you talked about, communication, empathy, all that stuff. But when you're in the market to find a job, you're interviewing that employer just as much as they're interviewing you. So come prepared with those questions. Do you have a diversity and inclusion program?
Yes.
Tell me about it. Open-ended questions, right? Tell me about your diversity and inclusion program. And listen, and just listen, because you might not want that job. If they're like, what? We got away with that. We did, our governor told us to get rid of that diversity and inclusion stuff. I'm just kidding. But yeah, some employers have it, some don't. Some will take that as an opportunity to sell you on their compassion as an employer. So it helps make your decision. The other thing I want to make sure that parents know, this is a big one, and it's come to terms with the fact that your work-life balance is going to be a ride. It's going to be a roller coaster. Come to terms with it. Just come to terms with it.
Acceptance. Mm-hmm. And as you know, Kim, before we sign off, as you know, one of the biggest things that I preach is it's never your child that needs to be accepted. It's you that needs to self-accept. Yep. That this is it. These are the cards that have been dealt. These are the lemons I've been given. How do I make the best fucking lemonade out of it? This is it. Yeah. So that's exactly what you just said. That just come to terms with the fact that it might be a rocky road. And I think in the last few weeks, I just lean towards gratitude more now and be grateful for it. Yes. If I might even add, and be grateful that this child was given to you so you can learn, so your eyes can open, so you can just become this person that you never, ever in your wildest dreams imagined you would be. And ultimately, your child will persevere and thrive, because that's really what we're asking for. So your pride has to take back seat because your child needs you to go out there and speak up. Ask about the diversity. I never thought about that. Ask about the freaking DI. Tell me about it. What is it like? And if they say, oh, well, we have a black ERG, great. What else? because when you say what else, it's just like how and what are open-ended question leaders. So what else you got? Okay. Do y'all have anything for Pride? Oh, okay. You have one for Pride. Super. Do you have anything for parents of queer kids? Because that's not, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. It's not the same thing as the Pride ERG. The Pride ERG caters to the queer people. Enough parents of queer kids are not queer. So they are not, they are missed by those, that little ERG. What are your thoughts about that, Kim?
Well, parents are allies. So,
Yes,
so I feel like they should be able to have
ideally.
a seat at the table, right?
If it's an ally, yeah, but as if it's an ally group. Now I was told, because I don't have this in medicine, we don't have that, but I was told that ERGs are usually LGBT people. Now you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know, but
I don't
that's what
know.
I was told.
I believe, like, well, with Bosch, it does include allies
Good.
in that. So, they are definitely included in the Pride at Bosch. So I definitely feel a part of the group. I feel a part of my company that I work for. I feel included with, my leadership chain. I get what I need, and so, yeah, I think that's,
Yeah. And one of the things that we have at the back of our t-shirt actually is this hashtag I'm going to write right now, which is true. I just wish we had more. I wish we had more parents who can go out there and
yeah,
proudly say that they're parent allies, because that's who we are primarily. Even if you're queer yourself in my case, but also you're an ally for your child, which is a different department altogether. But you have to see yourself as an ally, which is so powerful. And that's a beautiful place
I have
to
one
end this show. Go ahead. No, no, go ahead.
comment.
Go ahead.
Being a parent ally, it is the most amazing thing I think I've ever. I'm the most proud of that title. I really am. Being a parent ally, how exciting is it that you get to know your child, like, up close and personal? You get to hear all about, who they're attracted to, and how they want to look, and who they want to be, what they want to be when they grow up. It's more than just what do you want to be when you grow up.
Yeah.
Who am I
Who do you
now?
want to be? Yes.
Now, like,
Yes. No, I think it's you
oh,
replace what with who. What do you want to be when you grow up versus who do you want to be when you grow up? And I
yeah,
think that is it's a two letters and one letter, but it's huge. Who you
right.
want to be is not the same thing as what you want to be. And that is so powerful. It's the who part that we
Yeah.
get to experience. It's like your children have two lifetimes. It's like they're born again, literally speaking, when they come into their true gender identity and expression. So it's just such a beautiful, it's so artistic. I don't know how else to describe it. Somebody was like, you talk about it with so much. I said, yes. I can't tell you what it is. It's something that you have to experience it. It's just
Yeah.
it's a
It's
beautiful thing.
beautiful. It's
Yeah,
a beautiful journey as a parent ally, if you allow yourself to
to
just go
be
on,
that.
just go on it.
Kim, this has been amazing. I knew it was going to be amazing. All the questions I said I was going to ask you, I don't think I remembered any of them. But this is so good, because this is exactly the way to be a conversation of two souls and two hearts. So, Kim, thank you so much. You gave me so much content for the post-show write-up, which I'm going to do. And then I'm going to introduce our picture that we took together in Ohio. Um,
Mhm.
but y'all, this has been Dr. Lulu Presents Supporting Parents of Queer Kids at the Workplace. And I come every Monday at 6 p.m. Central to talk to you. Sometimes I'll be by myself. Sometimes I'll have a guest. I don't know, but I'm just open to it. And actually, believe it or not, Kim, I'm slowly going to shut down all my other podcasts
Okay.
and just focus on this one. I think all of them have had their roles, and they all kind of were on the way to this, because this is the one that I feel is where I'm going. And I have this brand new, I just got a sponsor last week, a lot of money too. So I'm like, okay. So, but I haven't written the jingle, and I haven't had it confirmed yet. Like, what's the word? Not confirmed, approved yet. So I haven't added it. But yeah, I'm excited about just everything that we can do together. You, me, and your place of employment. And ultimately, our focus is on the little child. So, Kim, take us home. Tell us, I don't know, something, one thing, maybe one going away message for the parents who are watching, who are thinking, parent ally. I never thought about that. Just, I don't know, something to go home with.
Well, if you haven't tried it, it's a pretty cool gig. It's fun. I mean, what is not fun about, you know, good music, rainbows, food? I mean,
Unicorns,
you know, just have fun with it. There's
glitter.
look, there's serious times. There's going to be some very serious times. There's some big lawmakers out there that are really dangerous to me and my
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
And and I don't know how to tell my family members this. Like, do you realize that, like when I booked that trip to California, we avoided Florida and any kind of layovers, right? Because here I'm traveling with three people that break the norm, so
Yeah,
to speak.
yeah.
And guess what? I'm a parent ally and a fierce one at that. And I'm not
Yes,
apologizing for any
never. We don't. We run out of fucks to give.
I'm
We
not
don't.
apologizing for my kids. I will go to jail and I will call Dr. Lulu for bail. But yeah, we had to avoid Florida. So just, like honestly, take the journey. Take the journey with your child. Find an employer that can go on that journey with you. Get that cash.
Go on the journey. Get the cash. Oh my God. So go on the journey and find an employer that will go along with
Yep.
you on the journey. And on that
Yeah.
note, we've come to an end of another amazing episode. Kim, I want you to promise me you'll come back to the Moms for Trans Kids podcasts. I think you're going to be our first guest. It's going to be so much fun.
Okay.
What we're doing is we're going round. And when it's my turn again, I'm going to invite you because you have so much to share. And that's kind of different. It's not about support at the workplace, but this has been so good, so enlightening. So I've learned so much because this is a work that I want to do without, there's nothing charted out there. I'm like literally finding my way as I go. So
Yeah,
you
there's
have
no
really
manuals.
yes, you've really shone the light. Hi, Tim. Oh my God, we've got someone
Hi,
joining us.
Tim.
Hi, Tim. Tim is waving. Hello, darling. Thank you so much for joining us. Timothy Hogg has been my supporter from day one. Timothy, I don't know if you joined us from the beginning, but hopefully you can go back and rewind and just watch it. It's been amazing. And so to everyone who's out there, my name is
My
Dr.
babies.
Lulu. Oh, it's like a Matt. I didn't even know. Hi, Matt. Wait, have you been there this whole time? Oh, Matt has been there. Oh, yay. Oh, my goodness. So amazing. Thank you so much. And these are the reasons that we do
That's
the
my
work.
boy.
Yes, these are the reasons that we do
Yes.
the work. We will keep doing. Look at that. What a beautiful smile. Look at that. Look at that smile. Like, hello. But these are the reasons we do the work that we do. So, y'all, thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching this in the replay, please type replay on the comment section. If you're watching the live, whatever, I guess life is over now. But share this video, tell someone about me, encourage your employers to connect with me on LinkedIn. Find someone who will support you. If you can't find anybody, I'm there. Kim is there. We'll be back every Monday at 6 p.m. Central. At least I know I will. And just stay tuned for more. I mean, I'm just so excited about just taking the journey. Kim, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been
Oh, it's fun.
beyond amazing. I said it was going to be 30 minutes, but almost an hour later.
You knew it wasn't going to be 30 minutes.
I knew it wasn't. I
You
sure
knew.
didn't. All right, my friends. I'll see y'all next week. So long. Farewell. And remember, your child is waiting. Your child is worth it. I'll see you next week. Bye.